Welcome back on the AM show. And that's how we kickstart the big story, starting from that end of town in the OT region. Joining us, we have Peter Senu, our regional correspondent. He'll be telling us more about the violence there and how it has impacted education. Peter Senu, good morning. I think you would have to unmute, Peter.
I have.
Okay.
I'm unmuted.
All right, I can hear you now, loud and clear. It's good to have you on, my brother. I hope you're well.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm okay. I'm fine.
All right. So we've already seen, we have the tail of the tape, but walk us through what exactly this has meant, the violence, the curfews and everything in between, and then how this has impacted education. Just walk us through what the latest is.
Right. So the latest, as we do know, is that schools have reopened after 2 or so months of break due to the communal and then ethnic clashes in the Nkwanta South. That is in Nkwanta proper and then its adjoining communities, for which curfew was imposed on the community, and then from 5 p.m. to 6 a.m. until now that they are still observing. The curfew has not been reviewed. But what we do know from authorities is that they are still strengthening security. And so they have called for resumption of schools or reopening of schools for school children who are bearing the brunt of these conflicts, to, as it were, have the best of education in the area. And so 24 hours ago, we were in town to monitor the day 2 of schools reopening. And not very much of activity have been seen. And this we know is very characteristic of GES. Schools reopening, not too many pupils would report, and some teachers too may have traveled as a result of the long break as well. And so, life is becoming and is coming back to Nkwanta in terms of education and all that. And so we were there, we spoke to some of the teachers just as we played out, and that is what is happening now. So we just do hope that life gets back to its full entirety so that economic and social lives can also thrive.
But that will also be contingent on some peace, some amicable solution to the standoff in the community. But just before we even go there, you interacted with some of the teachers. Some of them have been saying that they want an extension so that they can reach out to more students and all of that. What's the progress on that?
Yes, yesterday there was a RexSEC meeting, which I'll give you details shortly. But they feared that the extra tuition will enter into the curfew period. Curfew starts at 5 and then ends at 6 a.m. the following day. And so if there's any activity of extra tuition for which non-resident or day students would have to trek home, especially for the senior high schools, they will enter the curfew period, which may be a breach of security protocols. And so they are calling for a bit of extension on that. In fact, we are yet to receive any response from authorities, security authorities in this regard. But that is the appeal from teachers. And it does make sense that if there would be the need for that extra tuition for students to catch up on that, then there will be the need for the security operatives and RexSEC for that matter to consider maybe relaxing the curfew or extending the hours of the curfew for residents to benefit. And then at the Nkwanta Senior High School, just to get this one out, the students were supposed to have reported last December, but December schools were on break, as we do know. And so most of the students I know have taken transfers the first years to other schools. And so the intake now is very low, as the senior house father reported. And so in terms of numbers for the school, it's going to dwindle this year if nothing is done, so to say, to whip up the interest and then the numbers back to the school.
So you're telling me that on the back of this and how it is impacting the academic work of these students, a lot of them are moving to other, second cycle institutions to avoid the situation, which is leaving the Nkwanta Secondary School or the senior high school with very few students. That's what you're saying?
Yes, exactly so.
Okay.
Exactly so.
Now, I also want to...
I've encountered...
Go ahead, Peter.
Yes, I've encountered parents who have come from very far. I mean, the northern part. The schools serve school children or graduates from the northern enclave. So, Nkwanta, KJB, Jasikai, and then Smart School at St. Mary's. Most of the students from the northern enclave, they feed these schools. And so the immediate from the north, which is in Kwasek, and then Nkwanta Community SHS, to have closed down at this critical moment of admissions. In fact, it's a big blow to parents, and then the cost on their expenses as they have interacted with them. And so, for me, authorities must work hard to ensure that lasting peace returns to Nkwanta municipality.
How has the RexSEC reacted so far to the call of the teachers? For example, and do you know how much more of an extension do they want in terms of time? Because like you said, the curfew starts from 5 p.m. to 6 a.m., if I got you right. What are they calling for by way of extension? Up to about 7 p.m.? Do you know?
Well, they have not been so specific, but I should guess maybe 7 p.m. should be okay, or 8, depending on what authorities would deem appropriate. That should be left within the purview of the authorities to decide. But an extension, so to say, I think reduction in from 5 to 6, 7, 8, thereabout, should be appropriate for any student who may have closed from classes, say 5, to reach home within an hour or an hour and a half, in order to beat any curfew time that will be extended or put on maybe reviewed on the area. But RexSEC met yesterday,
right?
And we do know that now there is a working committee that has been put up to see to it that peace talks get underway. And so that we didn't know. There was RexSEC meeting. In fact, we spoke to one of the chiefs who was accused not to have compromise with the peace talk, because he mentioned this on record. That is why I'm also putting it out there. He spoke to us, which details we'll be sharing with our viewers and listeners later, that he did not intend to thwart the efforts of the peace talk. It was just that adequate security measures were not put in place for his safety. That was for which he did not honor those invitations. And so we can put this one on record. Of course, we'll be putting out what he told us also out later. But he was committed, he said he was committed to ensuring that peace returns to the area. Of course, who benefits from any of these distractions, loss of lives that took place for the past months? And so he called on parents to, as it were, allow their children to come out to school since authorities are on the ground trying to ensure peace, law, and order.
How has this impacted social activities in these communities?
As for social activities, gravely impacted. In fact, I met some young guys yesterday who were lifting metals just to keep body and soul going. And when I saw them, I was curious. So I thought they were just massing up to cause some mischief. But when I approached them, they said no, it was for the curfew and then its attendant consequences on them. And so they were warming up just to keep their bodies and souls together, just for authorities to, while they wait for authorities to ensure lasting peace in the area. In fact, a lot more people have left in Nkwanta town since the conflict, degenerated. A lot more people have left. And so it will take a lot more time and effort to bring these people back to Nkwanta.
Which would also likely mean that the economic life, the economy of Nkwanta is on the line, because when all is said and done, even getting people to come back, because some may think, wait, what if I come back and then these things recur and then my economic activity or business is impacted? So the economic life of Nkwanta, I want to believe, has also been impacted, right?
Exactly so, gravely so. Because I've interacted with farmers who have left acreages of farm produce on their farms unharvested. And, it is affecting the economy. Just that. I spoke to one woman who was shivering while she was talking to me, and I could feel at that moment what she lost or what she might be losing at that moment. And so, from yesterday's meeting as well, and what I know is that if there is a need for security to be provided to some people to, as it were, take whatever belongs to them, and then for some of the chiefs to visit their traditional areas to talk to their people, that would also be done. But I think I did mention some time ago that if authorities would also consider maybe providing security on cluster basis to the various communities affected, so that farmers who are gravely impacted in these conflicts could go to their farms, harvest their produce. Because what we do also know is that some criminal elements are also taking advantage of the situation to steal, to loot. Because from the officialdom, people would just go around. In fact, the Christmas was I understand, was good for some people, because goats, fowls that were left, around, people just, pick them. And you wouldn't know whether it was for the person or not. And so these are the things happening on the ground that people are very skeptical to either return or stay in the area. But it is for the authorities, and then those especially involved in this conflict, to give peace a chance, so that the business activities we know from Nkwanta Town, returns, so that we all stay in peace. Of course, it's an election year. Politicians may want to campaign and all that in the area. And if the curfew remains as it is, it means that exactly nothing much would happen in the area up to December. Ben.
All right, so the Member of Parliament, then the RexSEC, of course, the DISEC, all the way to the RexSEC. You've spoken to me about what the RexSEC has been saying, but what is the plan? Is this curfew indefinite? What is the plan in terms of when it will likely be lifted? And what is the plan in terms of resolving this situation to the point where the curfew can actually be lifted? What can you share with me as far as those are concerned?
Well, from yesterday's meeting, I did mention that there is a working committee now for which all have signed that they were going to commit themselves to it and ensure that lasting peace returns to the area. But for the curfew, I think it will last for 3 months, for which it could be reviewed. I don't know what the law says on that, though, but I think it will last for 3 months, for which it could be reviewed. But until
how long has it lasted so far?
We are in the 3rd month. It started on the 21st of October. So November, December, we are in January. So 21st of this month will be in the 3rd month. So by the end of January, hopefully, I think there would be some review depending on what is happening on the ground.
Peter Senu, if there are any final words, you can share them with us. And we're grateful, of course, for your time. Any final words for us? Any passing shots?
Well, for me, from what I've seen on the ground, a lot more people are struggling to survive. A lot more people are suffering, especially the vulnerable, the women, the children. And business life in Nkwanta now is virtually down. This is a fact. We all do know. And we are in election year. Some of us will be in the forefront reporting what is happening on the ground.
Right.
Of course, we are families. Our lives are at stake. And so I want to use this medium to appeal to my people, my friends in Nkwanta, the Adeles, the Charles, the Achodes. I have friends across the board. I just want to appeal to them to give peace a chance. We are one people, we are one family. Of course, what do we gain if we fight one another? There is a lot of development that we must channel our energy to for Nkwanta. Our bridge is broken. We must put our energy together to ensure that we get the best from the national coffers for development for the area. We cannot kill ourselves. Ben, have a good day, bro.
Thank you so much, Peter Senu. Thank you, my brother. He's our correspondent in the OT region, joining the conversation, telling us about the latest, giving us the updates in the Nkwanta South area in the OT region. Thank you once more, Peter. Now, from here, we're going to take a little break. When we return, we focus on UTAG and TUTAG. Why? They've been having some engagements with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, but they accuse the commission and, by extension, government of bad faith, of not actually sticking to the plan. They had a meeting with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission yesterday, which culminated in a walkout of these two entities. Now, an industrial action is on the cards. But where do we go from here? We'll be hosting the national president of UTAG in the person of Professor Akudugu up next on the AM show. Do stay.